easily taken. It's most of the time rejected because they don't want to hear that they're doing anything wrong. But I do that as well. But I provide the schools with an answer to a problem that they have. They don't have enough teachers right now. Special ed teachers are quitting all over the country. Special ed teachers are abusing kids all over the country. We see it on the news every single day. So I come in and I try to ease that frustration for the parent in the school and try to give them a better way to look at special education so they can provide the resources that the teachers need, because the teachers are burnt out because they have to do it all.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Career Education Learners in the Podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Rivers. I am thrilled, elated, and excited to have Adriane Gay on our show today. Adriane is the founder of ABG Special Education Consulting, and she is a wonderful, wonderful person. She got a wonderful personality. Y'all gonna get the experience, the thing I experienced to her just talking to her before the podcast. How you doing today, Adriane?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Adriane, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your journey to your current career, where you're an entrepreneur now.
Yes, I am. Well, it started back in 2009. I was a teacher. I've always been taught special ed. And I taught special ed from 2009 to 2021. I did special ed pre-K, special ed middle school, never done high school. My two is pre-K and middle school. And what brought me to special ed is growing up in where I grew up at, you see special ed kids get treated a little differently. Mm-hmm. And even as a kid, I always wanted to, make it better. So I decided to become a special education teacher. So in 2009, I became a teacher, only SPED. I've only taught special education, no general education, no anything. So 2009, I started with pre-K special ed, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So it was always in like Fulton County schools, Atlanta public schools, Gwinnett school systems, and Newton County school systems. So, and then in 2021, I decided to move to DC and teach special ed in the District of Columbia, and realized the school system in DC was more worse than what it was in Georgia. They just go by what they think it should be. That really brought me to wanting to start a program on my own where I can teach educators and parents how to advocate for their students. The teachers need to know how to craft an IEP and what goes into an IEP, and craft it the way that it should be crafted, catered to the child's needs. And the parent needs to know how to advocate for the child, meaning they need to know the laws of special education. They need to know what the schools can and cannot do. And they need to know what's right and wrong when it comes to their child's IEP. So I decided to start ABG Special Education Consulting in September of 2022. Did it part-time the first year. In 2023, I decided to go at it full force. So now I teach, but I teach on contract base, meaning I teach basically when I want to. I put more effort into my consulting and helping parents navigate the IEP systems and educating educators on special education so they can help the students get what they need within the classrooms as well.
So did you always want to be a teacher in the beginning, like when you were younger as a kid?
I did not.
Then what is special ed?
No, well, in the beginning, yes. But then as I got older, graduated high school, I didn't even go to school for teaching, to be surprising. I went to school for criminal justice and business administration. Got in corporate world, it was like, this is not, how you get there and it's just not, this is not where I'm supposed to be. You just feel that this is not where I'm supposed to be. So I decided to go into, special education, and I felt right at home. But within the last couple of years, education is not what it used to be. So I think I can better serve my kids and my parents and other teachers outside of the classroom, but still dealing with special education.
So what college did you attend?
Oh, I didn't attend the traditional colleges like everybody. I attended private colleges. My bachelor's was American Intercontinental, and my master's was in University of Phoenix. I got an MBA.
Now, did that training prepare you for what you're doing now?
Criminal justice prepared me for all of it, because dealing with SPED is not criminal justice, but you have to deal with, behaviors. Mm-hmm. So dealing with in the criminal justice program that I was in, it taught me how to deal with behaviors, how to have patience with behaviors. And with my MBA, it helps me a whole lot with the business part of my consulting firm.
Do we put enough, our society, especially America, do we put enough financial resources in special education?
I think no. And I think because schools, they get the funding for special education. And depending on the school and the school district, they get per child. Oh. So one school might get $20,000 for one child. So if you got over 30 kids and $20,000 per one child, just imagine the funds. But the schools do not know they misuse the funds. They don't dedicate all of those funds to special education. So is it underfunded? I would say no. I just think the schools do not know how to utilize the funding.
Part of that funding, trying to get employees or help in order to be the classroom is more conducive for those students. We have teacher assistants and stuff like that may help the students.
Yeah, the funding should go towards that. But as I have seen within my 15 years of teaching, that's just not how it works. They use special ed funds for everything, which it should not be the case. Special ed funds should go towards the training for teachers, training for the parents, getting the kids what they need within the classroom, whether it's assistive technology or, whatever services they need. And they don't use the funds in that way. So I'm going to go back to what you asked at first. I don't think it's underfunded. The funds is just misused.
So is that where you come in, is where you tell them how the best way to utilize those funds into where it maximizes what they have in order to make sure that the student get the best possible education?
I do that as well. It's not always easily taken. It's most of the time rejected because they don't want to hear that they're doing anything wrong. But I do that as well. But I provide the schools with an answer to a problem that they have. They don't have enough teachers right now. Special ed teachers are quitting all over the country. Special ed teachers are abusing kids all over the country. We see it on the news every single day. So I come in and I try to ease that frustration for the parent and the school, and try to give them a better way to look at special education so they can provide the resources that the teachers need, because the teachers are burnt out because they have to do it all. So if you got 20 special ed kids in your class and you got one teacher, that's a lot.
Yeah, and that's why I come out asking you about assistant teachers or other resources they may have. Like, do they have school psychologists? Do they have other school people or administrations that can specialize in that can help them? Whether it is for funding or they need help, one-on-one help. Do you get the one-on-one assistance they have? Now, I had speech impediment growing up, Adriane. Okay. And so is there a speech pathologist there that can help them for those children who have speech impediments?
Of course, you have those are called related services providers. So yes, they do have related services providers. The kids that get speech, they get speech. The kids that need help with writing, which is OT, occupational therapy, they get that. But they don't have enough of those in the school though. So if you have 30 kids that need OT, that's a lot for one occupational therapist. If you have 10 kids that need speech help, but one speech teacher, speech language pathologist, that's not enough.
I was going to say, is there any way we can track it? Are we losing that base as far as attracting college students who go into school and maybe going to education? Are we losing them going to special ed? Are we losing them to other professions, or just going into just teaching the subject that they feel comfortable in and not going to special ed?
We're losing teachers, period, whether it's special ed or general ed, because teachers are burnt out. Teachers, and it's just too much. The administration is putting too much on the teachers. And take that into special education. In special education, you have a lot of paperwork. You have a lot of stuff. So you have students, college students that has graduated college to go into education, but they quickly leave because they don't teach that in school. Teacher burnout. They don't teach teacher burnout. Like they come out thinking, oh, I'm about to save the world. I'm gonna be the teacher of the whole century. But when they get there, it's like, oh, they didn't tell us this at Howard University. Oh, they didn't tell us this when we were going to Florida A&M. They didn't tell us this in our program. Mm-hmm. So it's just like the programs, the college programs are not preparing the teachers as well and giving them a false sense of career. Because it's not, special education is hard within itself, period. But then take on you coming out of college new as a teacher with no help from administration, and they just give you everything and they expect you to do it when you don't know because you just fresh out of college.
So do they have a mentorship program or mentorship when you go? I know they normally do when you become a first-year teacher. And do they have a mentorship program?
They do have mentorship programs, but it's not enough teachers to mentor. So you have got to have enough teachers to mentor. Mm. So if I'm at a school and you don't even have enough teachers to supply your classrooms, who gonna mentor your new teacher?
I'm pretty sure you've thought about this. Are there ways that we can attract more students to go into the education? And then that's another layer, as you said before, is can we get them to go to special education?
The attraction. Well, special ed is unattractive within itself. Okay. So it takes a special person to do special education because it's not attractive. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we can do more to attract them, but I think we can do more to
make it easier for them in order to make that transition.
Right. Make it easier for them to make that transition, but we can make it easy for them not to get burnt out so quickly.
Yeah, because that definitely is needed. And if we pool the resources, and sometimes it's not always financial resources, as you're stating, it's human resources, that we need human resources there. And so the administration and education in every state had to find a way to get the human resources that need help within the classroom by itself, right? What we call boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
We need boots on the ground there to help these kids on a one-on-one basis. So if we don't have enough speech pathologists, we don't have enough occupational therapists, we don't have enough of these special services which are needed to make sure that our special ed kids get the education, the help and support they need and resources, then, we're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, it's a battle that we will never win because they're making teaching more and more less attractive because of the lack of support from administration. And it's all about administration. If you work for somebody that made you happy every day, would you quit? But I don't think they get it. But it takes a certain type of person to be a leader as well. Everybody, just because they're leaders, ain't meant to be leaders. Mm-hmm. You got to know how to lead. First, you got to be a good follower to lead. So if you can't follow correctly, you're not going to be a good leader. And that's what you see in these educational settings. You got people that are not willing to follow but want to lead, which make them not so good leaders because they don't even know how to follow.
Yeah, and I've spoken to some past guests that was talking about education and what can we do to attract more high schoolers to go into education, or more people to even, cross careers, right? Go from one career, maybe come into education. I think they're more willing to go into college or community college and technical schools than they are to high schools and go into that field. I know there's a lot of high school programs that I'm pretty sure Teach America and other organizations that try to attract more teachers by having people switch careers. Is that something that maybe they can influence on? Can we concentrate more on that as a way to show up the shortage of teachers?
We could, because I went through a program as well. It wasn't Teach for America, but in Georgia, it's called the Georgia TAP, where if you have a degree in something else and you want to transition to teaching, you can go through the Georgia TAP program and become a teacher. That's how I actually became a certified teacher in the state of Georgia. But even in that program, it's like a work study program. You get paid as a regular teacher, but you're working while you're learning as well and gaining your certification. So I think that would be a good program to go into for transitioning into teaching because you get a hands-on experience. So just say if you a month in the program, you realize, oh, teaching is not for me. I thought I wanted to do it, but this is not it. That way you ain't out of your pocket with no money, no any of that.
And so where do you come in? Why did you specifically want to be your own boss, as we say? Why did you start your company?
I started my company because I saw the lack of in the educational systems. I felt like I could be that person to bridge that gap for the lack of knowledge that general education teachers have and administration, because administration sometimes, most of the time that I've seen, don't know anything about special education as well. So I started my company so I could be that bridge for the parents and the educational school systems so they can help them parents and the parents help their kids. It's for me, it's bridging that gap, giving them knowledge, giving the school the knowledge to know how to build and craft an IEP that's catered to the child's needs, how to teach a special needs kid. And the parent needs to know, what are my rights? What the school can and can't do? What can I do? What are my rights as a parent? What are the laws of special education? And that's where I come in. I bridge that gap. I give the teachers and administration to know how to build and craft an IEP with SMART goals, and the parent how to advocate for their child in knowing the special education laws and how to craft and build a good IEP for their kids that caters to their kids, special needs.
Yeah, and that's funny because you combine your criminal justice, learning about behavior, with your MBA there, and you feel that need.
Yep.
And so what I try to tell students is that you're going to may sometimes start out with having one thought or one career that you want to go out there. Then you may change your major while you're in college. And then after you graduate, you get into a field that you find out you're not passionate about. That's not the thing, what you thought it was. It's not what you thought it was. And then you may change again.
And so you get there, you just feel like this is not what I'm supposed to be. I felt like this is not where I'm supposed to be.
And same thing you did. I mean, many people that I talked to, past guests and friends, started off one way and went another way. I talked to one lady one time and said that she thought she wanted to be a pediatrician, and she had to take those science courses, all that stuff away.
Yeah.
I had another person talk about, they thought they want to be a nurse, because you want to be able to help people. But soon as they seen all that blood and everything else, wait a minute, hold up. That's not
for me. Right. So mine shifts and changes all the time. It's just, you just got to know where you feel at home at. Like, make it a home, wherever you are, make it a home. And it's got to be something you're willing to do for free. So if I do it for free. I've given people advice. I went through due processes for free because I like to help people and I like giving people the knowledge so they can advocate for themselves and their child. So it's just, if you can do it for free, that's where you're supposed to be.
Well, and I'm an entrepreneur myself. I'm a budding, starting entrepreneur. What are some of the challenges you had in beginning this company?
Not knowing, the lack of my knowledge, because I thought I was going to start and I was just going to be the hero of the century. No, it's a lot of stuff that goes behind it. So it's the lack of knowledge, because they don't teach this stuff in school. They don't teach business in school, which I think they should, but hey, they don't. So the lack of knowledge in the beginning, the lack of me having a circle of people that I could ask questions to, because my circle that I had in the beginning, they ain't know nothing about running no business. They ain't never had nothing. All they want to do is work for the government. And as long as I get this government job and this government paycheck, I'm good. I don't want no government paycheck. I don't want to work for DCPS no more. I don't want to do that no more. I want to work for myself and I want to help people at the same time. So once I start surrounding myself with people with like-minded, meaning they don't do the same thing that I do, but they're business-minded. And I had them, then I did within this last year, I had them to go and ask questions, and now it's getting easier, but it's still kind of hard. It's still kind of hard, but it's getting easier. So the lack of knowledge and the lack of not having nobody to even go ask questions to. And
so that's what I hear from my mentors the same way. And I'm pretty sure you heard when you're talking about opening a business up that, get around like-minded people, get around other business people, entrepreneurs, so that way they know what you're going through.
Right.
And I know for myself that if you talk to a person that's not an entrepreneur, your conversation is totally different, and they don't get where you're coming from. They do not get where you're coming from, and it's like you're speaking another language to them, and they're looking at you speaking another language, and you can't really get there one another. And so it helps, ladies and gentlemen, especially students, is that when you start a professional career, get into associations. I'm part of the National Association of Self-Employed People. I hang around with different mentors, entrepreneurs. That helps me a lot because they know what I'm going through. They know the challenges and joys. And talking about joys, Adriane, what joy do you get out of this? What is there some joy that is why you do this?
Yes, I enjoy helping people. I like helping people. So if I can help somebody feel like they can better advocate for their kid, then that's enough for me. That's enough for me. So that's why I started it as a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit, by the way. So it's a nonprofit. So if I can just make somebody like, thank you, you really did help me. I like that because I like to feel like I'm needed, and you know, and me helping people, I don't mind helping people. So that's my joy. Seeing somebody smile and say, thank you, you really helped me.
Yeah, well, just talking to you today, you help a lot of people, and in an area that people really need help, you know, in an area that people really don't want to go into. They want to tie. It's like being a caregiver, right?
Yeah.
That takes a special person. I have to admit it. It takes a special person to be in special education. It takes a special person to be a caregiver. It takes a special person to do certain jobs that need to be done.
Because you got to have patience.
And that word that nobody likes, patience, right?
Patience.
And we in a microwave society these days. So people don't like to hear that word patience, you know. And sometimes we get impatience, right?
I do.
You may get impatient, right? Because we're so used to things coming on. Your computer come on fast. Your phone come on fast. Get information fast. Boom, 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 you know. And so in a profession where patience is much needed, you almost have to kind of trick your mind into, okay, I'm here now. Patience is needed. You know, I'm not going to get the same response in a microsecond, right? You know, you can get the same joy in a microsecond. That joy is going to come at a long lasting time. The joy seeing from one of your students doing one thing and growing to another one. You set a goal, right? You set a goal, Adriane, and they meet that goal. It may be 2 months, it may be 4 months, it may be 6 months. But seeing them reach that goal, that is the joy that you get.
Right, that is the joy.
Well, Adriane, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. Are there any parting words you want to say to my audience at this time?
I want to part and say, ABG is a ABG Special Ed Consult is a nonprofit, and I'm always looking for volunteers, and I'm always looking for donors or sponsors wherever you. So if you can, just follow me on Instagram, ABG Special Consulting, and if you want to help the cause, it's bit.ly at ABG Special Ed.
Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, please help this young lady. What she's doing is very valuable and very gracious. What she's doing, I'm proud of her. That's why I was so happy when I seen your profile. Like, I gotta get this young lady on my podcast because she is a special young lady. I mean, impressive profile, and you can see that I see, as I told you earlier, what a wonderful personality, what a joy to be around. I mean, I bet your friends just love being around you. And so please support her. And we're going to have her information also on our website. So look at our website. We can get in touch with her. She'll be on there. Adriane, thank you so much for coming on our show today. I really do appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me.
And I thank our viewers and listeners for joining me on another episode of the Career Education Learners in the Podcast, where we're making your career dreams a reality. God bless.
God bless.